Always Feed a Witch Hunter. Written by James Scott. Read by Drew Grimm. Nestled between a dense forest and a bleak, lifeless marsh stood the city of Merca. It lay far beyond the protected lands, designed like a massive castle. Arthur guessed its walls were almost 15 feet tall. The church inside was likely enormous and extravagant. Out here, churches were always the heart of everything, brimming with silver and gold, and Arthur didn't mind relieving them of some. It had been a month since he fled his debts, and he decided to lay low in the south until things settled. It was the perfect place to practice the best con he ever thought of. The locals were friendly and trusting, mostly hunters, guildsmen, and a few wealthy merchants. Perfect targets for Arthur's needs. Merca rarely saw visitors. Few dared to settle this far south. God knows what lived in these parts. At least up north, the Templars had managed to tame most of the creatures. The people here would no doubt be desperate for help, and Arthur was ready to offer it, for a price. He smiled to himself. It would be the last time he did for a long while. When Arthur arrived at the gate, he was let in immediately. Of course, nobody turns away a witch hunter. At the inn towards the center of the city, he encountered some minor resistance at first. "We don't have any rooms available. Try somewhere." "Good. Look at his hat." "His hat? Oh, of course. Witch hunter. Forgive me, it's late. I didn't notice." "It's quite all right, friend. No apologies needed. I'm weary from travel, though. Perhaps I could—" Of course, witch hunter. I'll prepare something from the kitchen. Igor here will arrange a room in the back for you." "Thank you, good friend Igor. Be a good lad and take my bag." Arthur handed Igor a bag twice his size, nearly causing the boy to collapse under its weight. "I didn't catch your name, witch hunter." Arthur thought for a second before turning to Gord. "Percy Darkwhistle." Arthur did his best not to laugh. Percy Darkwhistle sat at a wooden table by the fire, savoring what he hoped was chicken noodle soup. This far south, he wouldn't be surprised if it turned out to be cat, or even worse, rat. And just as he began to finally get warm, a priest burst into the inn wild and excited. Sweating and shouting, Arthur turned to listen to what he had to say.
"Oh, thank heaven! The Duke hasn't forsaken us. Thank you so much for coming so quickly, witch hunter. It's absolutely terrible what's been happening here. The church has been completely powerless."
Arthur did his best to appear stoic and composed. He stood up, faced the priest, and said, "What?"
Please, witch hunter, I can take you to—"
"His name is Percy Darkwhistle." "Thank you, Gord. I can take it from here." "All right, young man. Take me to the church." Arthur didn't know what was happening, but maybe he could spin some bullshit to his advantage. When poor Igor returned from putting Arthur's bag away, Percy Darkwhistle made him fetch it again. "Good lad, Igor. Can't help anyone without these," Arthur said as he grabbed several trinkets and a giant cross from his bag. "Thank you, Igor. You can put it back in my room now." As the young priest guided Arthur, the streets of Merca were empty at this time of night. They were joined by a young nun named Mary. Arthur couldn't help but think she looked like a chipmunk. He tried his best not to let his eyes wander. "Father, can you tell me more about this terrible thing you mentioned earlier?" Before the priest could answer, Mary chimed in.
"Children are missing, and the church feels something sinister is happening. We have been powerless to stop it."
"How many children are missing exactly?"
"All of them."
Excuse me, what?"
"We have over 200 children missing. Every single child in Merca."
Arthur looked at the priest. His face confirmed what Mary was saying. "Well, I'm getting the hell out of this place the first chance I get, Arthur thought.
Witch hunter, what's your name?
His name is Percy Darkwhistle, the priest chimed in. Thank you, Father. When they arrived at the church, an elderly man dressed in fancy robes quickly took charge. The old priest rambled on about a witch abducting the city's children, or something along those lines. Arthur wasn't paying attention. His focus was on the church's layout and its many gold decorations. He noted anything of value, counting the steps from the door to the altar, marking the location of the offering strongbox, and noting each window. He nodded occasionally, pretending to be interested, all while scheming to grab whatever he could before making a quick escape from this wretched place. What Arthur couldn't ignore sounded dreadful. Whatever took their children wasn't just an angry rat catcher. A plan was forming in the back of his mind. This was going to be easy. The real challenge would be figuring out where to unload his score once he was far from this place. He couldn't rely on his usual fence, Horton. Their last deal had gone sideways, and Arthur owed him a lot of money. Maybe he could. His thoughts were cut short when Mary entered. Pretty face. I wonder what she's doing being a nun in this place. Mary gathered 2 lanterns and handed one to Arthur. Sister Mary will take you to the only witness, the old priest said. For a moment, Arthur forgot what they were talking about, but then he remembered. Oh, that's right. They want me to question the only witness, a young man who was hunting rabbits. Probably just a silly case of misseeing something, Arthur hoped. Trying his best to look heroic, Arthur turned to the old priest and Mary. Take me to this witness, sister, and don't worry, Father. I shall get to the bottom of this wickedness. Arthur had no intention of doing so. God bless you, witch hunter. I didn't catch your name.
His name is Percy Darkwhistle, Sister Mary chimed in.
Thank you, sister. Arthur was starting to hate hearing that name attributed to him. He couldn't help but think how he got here in the first place. While transporting a chest of counterfeit gold from the western harbor, Arthur's caravan was searched by knights, forcing him to abandon the cargo. He barely escaped, but Horton still held him accountable for the debt. I'll pay him back, and then everything will be right as rain, and I can go back north. This is as far south as I'm ever going. You can bet the farm on that. Unfortunately for Arthur, he would have lost the farm. Sister Mary guided him into the woods just outside Merca, following a trail that seemed untouched for years. The moonlight almost made the lantern seem useless. The stench of nearby swamp lingered in the air, and the dampness clung to Arthur's skin. After walking for a while, they arrived at a village that appeared defenseless and vulnerable so far from the city walls. Sister?
Yes, Percy.
Why would anyone live this far from the city walls? Arthur was genuinely curious. He wanted to ask how it was even possible for people to live so far away from the city. But he didn't want to offend Sister Mary.
The sisters have managed to keep this little plot of land safe. There is a sanctuary hall in the center of the village.
Safe until the missing children, you mean? Mary shot Arthur an unpleasant look.
Yes, Mr. Darkwhistle.
Arthur cringed. It sounded even worse than just Percy. Dear God, I never want to hear that stupid name again. Arthur would hear it for the rest of his life. The sanctuary hall was like many others, unassuming on the outside, but unexpectedly vast on the inside. Its cellar, Arthur mused, could likely fit the entire village and half the city. Arthur and Sister Mary were welcomed by 5 elderly sisters, dressed in modern robes.
God bless you, witch hunter. And God bless the Duke for sending you to us.
The Duke, Arthur figured, was probably enjoying a nice bubble bath right about now, and could probably care less about the city of Merca, or this tiny village outside it. I am here now, sisters. Show me this young man who witnessed this.
Of course. What shall we call you, sir? His name is Percy Darkwhistle, the Witch's Bane,
chimed in Sister Mary. Arthur was not amused by her adding that last part. Thank you, sister. The young man they brought out looked about 19, Arthur guessed. A slim-built lad with muscles from doing whatever work he managed.
This is Sebastian, our witness, Mr. Darkwhistle.
Sebastian, let loose on Arthur, as if he'd been holding back his entire life and finally got the chance to speak. Unlike the old priest, Arthur couldn't tune out this story, and every word left him feeling increasingly uneasy and a little terrified.
And it snatched up poor Sarah, sir, and I watched it fly into the forest. May God strike me down if I lie to you, sir.
Arthur didn't think the boy was lying. He was an excited young lad, for sure, but he didn't break eye contact or give Arthur any slight indication he was being dishonest. Arthur had a radar for bullshit, and this was not it. Arthur started to become more than slightly terrified now. He wanted to leave, and leave soon. His plan was simple. Let the boy take him to where he last saw the girl being snatched away. Ditch the boy and double back to the inn. Grab his bag and get the hell out of this godforsaken place. Arthur thought of a quick way to get some food for his flight out of Merca. Be a good lad, Sebastian, and grab us some food supplies from the cellar. We might have to camp in the forest a few days.
Yes, sir. I'll grab a sack of apples.
Better than nothing, Arthur thought. While he was here, he also remembered something else he needed to take care of. Sister, could you possibly help me appraise something? It's a church relic and it's very old. Arthur was hoping it would be valuable. He had stumbled upon it by accident while trawling the riverbed for antiques weeks ago. Arthur managed to pull the cross from his leather jacket, hoping the nun's eyes would widen, revealing how much it might be worth. With any luck, it would be enough to pay back Horton. Well, the nun's eyes did widen. Then they turned red. Then their skin fell off like they were wearing oversized dresses. What Arthur saw now were 5 witches that resembled giant hairless demons with dark gray skin and deformed wings. Some had the head of a bat, while some a wolf. Arthur was the first to break the ice. Ladies, there's been a big misunderstanding here, and I'll just be on my way now. No need for anyone to act hastily. Arthur was still holding the cross. It started to glow yellow in his hand.
Kill the witch hunter. We can't let him keep the cross of St. Brian. Yes, kill him. Yes, we must kill him and take it.
Arthur tried his best to awkwardly back away and flee from the sanctuary hall. The old hags had other ideas. The one with the wolf's head lunged first. Arthur quickly threw his arms up to shield his face, bracing for impact, when the witch suddenly shrieked in agony.
It burns! Oh, it burns!
Then the witches with the bat heads attempted to double-team Arthur. However, Arthur was not the type to panic in tough situations. He hoped what had happened before would happen again. He thrust his hand forward with the cross and felt a sense of satisfaction as the 2 witches shrieked and retreated again. Look, I'm just going to leave now. I don't care about any of this. Eat every goddamn child in AfterWorld if you want to. I just want to go. The last 2 didn't listen to Arthur's pleas. They came at him high and low this time, forcing him to decide where to thrust the cross first. He targeted the high-lurching witch, shoving the cross into her face. Her head exploded grotesquely, and Arthur fought the urge to vomit as bits of witch splattered in his mouth. As the lower witch began clawing up his legs, he drove the cross downward, obliterating her in a violent burst. The cross started to burn in Arthur's hand, and he quickly shoved it into his leather jacket. Arthur, covered in witch parts, bolted down the sanctuary steps like a jackrabbit. Sister Mary stood at the bottom, waiting patiently. "Sister, we need to get the hell out of here now. I'm afraid the nuns weren't what they seemed. We have to leave before it's too late." "Oh shit, you're one of them, aren't you?" Sister Mary's skin slid to the ground, revealing a head and face resembling a snake. "We're not the only ones deceiving people, are we, witch hunters?" The witch cackled at Arthur. "Today you fall, Percy, witch's bane." When she finished laughing, she was genuinely surprised to see Arthur had turned and bolted into the forest. Arthur nearly wet himself in terror. This was his worst nightmare come to life. He tried sprinting down the trail he had taken into the village, but he lost it, constantly glancing over his shoulder to see if Mary was chasing him. Then the sound of a sword being drawn cut through the forest, followed by a familiar voice. "Horton wants his money, Arthur," Cade shouted. "I'm here to take you back, one way or another, so make it easy on yourself and—" "Holy God!" That's when he saw the witch. Arthur had always despised Cade and his obnoxious voice, but for once he felt an overwhelming sense of relief. To Arthur's surprise, the bounty hunter hedge knight stepped in to defend him. Cade gripped his sword tightly, ready to fight by his side. Brave, Arthur thought, and without a second of hesitation, Arthur bolted in the opposite direction. "Bastard!" Kane shouted after him, but Arthur didn't stop. Arthur sprinted full speed ahead, trying to get as far away as possible. Branches and brambles tore at his skin and clothing as he crashed blindly through the undergrowth. Moments later, a piercing scream echoed in the distance, abruptly cut short. Was it Cade or the witch? He spotted what looked like a clearing ahead. He pushed himself to run even faster. Arthur burst through the clearing, and then there was Mary, right in front of him. He tried to stop, but he was moving too fast, and she was too close. They collided hard, both crashing into a tangle of arms and legs. It wasn't a clearing. It was a riverbed, and they tumbled into the murky water. Arthur inhaled some water as he flailed, desperately trying to surface. The witch clawed at him, dragging him down. His lungs burned, his body screamed, and he thought he was done for. Suddenly his head broke the surface, and he gulped down precious air. The witch was still attacking, but now he was on top of her. The current pulled them downstream, and Arthur spotted someone on the bank. Fighting the current, he swam toward him. Hands clutched at his leather clothes, and he was sure the witch had him. Exhausted and out of air, he began to sink. He exhaled and surrendered. Someone yanked him onto the shore, and Arthur could feel the blessed earth beneath him as he was still gasping for breath. Gagging on the water he had swallowed, he looked to see it was Sebastian who had rescued him. "Witch hunter, I found the children, just like you wanted me to." Arthur tried his best to wring out his leather jacket. He was soaked, exhausted, terrified, and utterly dumbfounded. Struggling to maintain his composure, he turned to face Sebastian and managed to utter, "Huh?" On the way back to Merca, Arthur had to endure Percy the Witchbane's tale of triumph. How he had immediately sniffed out the sisters, cleverly sent Sebastian to the cellar to keep him safe and locate the missing children, destroyed 2 witches before scattering the rest, and single-handedly drowned the coven leader, the Snakehead. This isn't good, Arthur thought to himself. He had to leave, and he had to leave immediately. The sun was already out now. I'll grab my things and bolt before anyone knows what happened. Percy the Witch's Bane dies here today. Arthur quickly gathered his belongings from the inn, with Igor's help, of course. He made it 5 steps from the inn before what Arthur thought was the whole damn city came out to cheer him.
God bless you, witch hunter! All hail Percy the Witch's Bane! Darkwhistle saved my son! Bless you, Percy!
They began to cheer Percy in unison.
Thank you all, thank you, yes, group effort, thank you all, I'm just going to leave now, thank you. Yes, thank you, please. I don't like being touched, thank you. Oh yes, everyone touch me now, thank you. Oh, someone grabbed my butt, thank you, yes, of course. Oh yeah, a hug, all right then. Yes, one for your wife. Oh, the children, oh look, you have 7 of them. Hug for you, hug for you, hug for you. Oh, how pleasant, a line is forming for hugs now. Most excellent.
If Arthur could have shed his skin and revealed wings like those witches, he'd still be flying now. Just get through this, Arthur. Soon we'll never have to hear about Percy the Witchbane again. Unfortunately for Arthur, this just wasn't his day for predictions.